What is going on, Pats Nation? You guys already know who it is. It's your favorite goon back at it with another video. It's your boy Patriots Global here. And today I'm going to be hitting you guys with another mock draft. You guys seem to really love mock drafts around this time. And we have exactly from today, a week until the start of the draft. And then mock drafts are over until next year. So why not start flinging these babies out until the draft comes along? I also did just drop a video touching on the top 5 targets for the Patriots in the 2024 draft at the wide receiver position. That is a series that I am going to do up until the 2024 draft, where I touch upon a couple of quarterbacks that I like for them, offensive tackles, cornerbacks, edge rushers. So please make sure you guys check out that video, leave a like, leave a comment. The more you guys support the videos, the better the videos do, the more it shows me that you're interested in that specific content. But let's roll the intro and hop into today's mock draft. Alrighty, well, this is not the setup we're looking for. That's the setup we're looking for. There we go. But little disclaimer before we hop into the mock draft. So I want to do something a little bit different than I did last time. My last mock draft that I did on here, so I've done mock drafts on Bleacher, AFC East Roundtable, collaborations, trying to keep all of them in track. But the last one that I did on here by myself, we stayed put at every single pick. We didn't trade down. And this one, I want to trade down where it is realistic for the Patriots. So let's just begin. So let's just start this baby up. So Caleb Williams and Drake May both go off the board. Now, realistically, what I do see happening is I do think that Drake May is going to be there at 3 for the Patriots. There's a lot of smoke screens, okay, especially a week before the draft. That's where there's more smoke screens than there's ever going to be. That's when teams are kind of desperate, trying to make teams bite in their favor. From what it sounds like, though, because Adam Schefter has doubled down on his report saying that the Commanders are going to go Jaden Daniels, but not only that, telling Commanders fans that they should get their Jaden Daniels jerseys already makes me feel pretty confident that Drake May is going to be there for the Patriots at 3. I think Jaden Daniels, he just makes a ton of sense for the Commanders, especially because the Commanders are in a win now mode, as in right now, not with the Patriots, who are okay with slowly kind of rebuilding up over the next few years. But obviously, that's not what happened in this specific case. And let's say that the Commanders shock the world and they do go Drake May. That Jaden Daniels still does make a lot of sense for the Patriots. Look, he has some issues throwing into the middle of the field. That's a problem. But at the end of the day, I don't think it's an inability thrown in the middle of the field as much as it is kind of lack of reps there. He wasn't asked to do that. He had Malik Neighbors and Brian Thomas on the outside. When you have 2 elite first-round wide receivers as your perimeter receivers, you're going to throw to the outside. You're going to throw outside the numbers more often than not. I do have more concerns about his arm strength, and that does kind of come down to his overall size. He has the height to play quarterback at, I believe he's 6'4", but he doesn't have the frame. For a guy who's very mobile and likes to take off of the ball a lot, he's going to take a lot of hits. He's got to learn how to slide. But not only that, he's also going to have to learn, not necessarily learn, but he's going to over time have to put on some weight, right? He's going to have to put on some muscle. And I think once he does that, the zip on the ball is going to get a lot better. He's going to be able to fit it into tight windows. He has the deep ball accuracy. He just needs to get the velocity on the ball behind him. And obviously in today's NFL, having a guy that is a dual threat, when the play breaks down, being able to create off script, that is Jaden Daniels. And I mean, you can't make that guy up. I mean, you build a quarterback in a lab and you're coming out with somebody like Jaden Daniels. So let's see, where is he on here? PFF has him ranked so low, it makes no sense. Ranked at 21, that's crazy. All right, but let's see how the rest of the board falls. I'm not going to trade back into the first round. It's not to say that it's completely unrealistic for the Patriots to trade back in, like back end of the first round. I just don't think it's going to happen. Everything we've heard about the Patriots so far is that they rather have more picks rather than less picks. And even if that's involving 34 in a trade to get back into the first round, the Patriots are going to have to give up quite a haul, probably like their second and third rounder, not to mention picks in 2025 too. That just doesn't sound like the philosophy that right now they're trying to follow. So let's see who went. So, Byron Murphy, that's an interesting pick for the Raiders, but also makes a ton of sense. JJ McCarthy falls a little bit, goes to 11. That's like the perfect case scenario for the Minnesota Vikings. Brock Bowers to the Jets also makes sense. Let's kind of see some of these later guys. Cooper to the Eagles. That makes a ton of sense. Brian Thomas goes to the Vikings. They double down there. Jordan Morgan goes. Lad McConkey goes. That's a famous pick there at 32. And then Jackson Powers Johnson at 33 to start day 2. So there is a lot of really, really good options for the Patriots on the board. I know Troy Franklin is like this first round projection. I don't think so. I think at best he's a second round guy. Not a big fan of his. We obviously went with our quarterback. I'm not a big Keon Coleman guy. I'm not saying he's N'Keal Harry, but too much PTSD. Too much PTSD from there. Jatavion Sanders, but I don't think they're going to go tight end this early. There's a lot of really good guys on the board, but guys that I think that the Patriots can still get later. And knowing that they believe that the best way to hit on the draft is by taking more shots at the draft, having more draft picks. I don't think they're going to trade at 3. I think it's very, very realistic. It would surprise me if the Patriots do not trade down with one of their picks in the first 3 rounds. And I think here at 34 makes a lot of sense because the way I view that 34th overall pick is a back end of the first round pick. A lot of the talent that you project to go in the first round falls to day 2. That happens every single year. And teams are going to want to trade up in order to get those players. And I think the Patriots can get a pretty good haul back. I'm not saying future first, but still get, maybe multiple picks in the top 100. Maybe that's a little too much. Maybe multiple picks within like the top 150. So let's see who's calling. How are 3 teams calling? How are 3 teams calling at 34? That's not realistic. The place that I've liked to trade down, because you don't want them to trade down too far into the second and miss out on all of the talent. The place that I've been going back and forth with myself is like 41. And the reason that I have that with the Packers is obviously the ties back to Green Bay with Elliott Wolf, with Alex Van Pelt. I think that makes a ton of sense, as where, I've seen some people throw around 38 because there are some ties to New England and Tennessee, but I think moving from 34 to 38 just doesn't make a whole lot of sense. You're not going to get a whole lot back. So, I mean, let's see. Let's see if, because I know Green Bay's not interested, and a lot of times PFF doesn't let you make the trade then. But let's see if we offer. So I want 41. I'll give you 34. And we could get another top 100 pick in 88. We have a 56% chance for this to be accepted. And I think that this is realistic too. I don't think we could attack. I mean, maybe we can tack on a 7th too. Let's try. Let's try to tack on a 7th while we're at it. Okay, doesn't work. Sometimes it doesn't work. You just got to go again. Okay, they didn't like that. Let's take off 255. And the trade's accepted. Okay. Makes a lot of sense. Makes a lot of sense. So let's resume the draft. So they trade up to get Troy Franklin. Makes a ton of sense, right? Trying to build around Jordan Love in that second year. A guy that, again, some people have as that first round pick. I wonder, though, if instead of going Troy Franklin, they go with somebody like Xavier Worthy and try to get that speedster. But trading up to get a guy who was a projected first round pick falling to the second, I think this is super realistic, both the trade between New England and the Packers, but also where the Packers ultimately ended up going. And the Patriots, again, they get a pick within the top 100. I love it. Keep in mind, too, the Patriots have like 19 roster spots still available, so they're going to stock up both on the draft and on UDFAs. So Tyler Nubin is here. I'm not a big fan of them going defense early on. Like within the first 3 picks, I don't like them going defense. I understand that there's a good chance that they will. I'm just not a big fan of that. Tyler Nubin is a guy that could play that deep free safety role for the Patriots that they're looking for, but I think that they can get a guy later on if that's the route they want to go. Michael Penix falling. Wow. And Bo Nix. I don't think this is realistic. I don't think Bo Nix and Michael Penix falling this deep into the second is realistic. Maybe one of those guys, Bo Nix. But Michael Penix, I don't see it. Keon Coleman's falling. Roman Wilson fallen to 41 so far. I thought he would go early on. Like, I thought that he's a team or he's a player that could have went to a team like the Commanders or even a team like the Panthers. Let's see who we got here. I usually go offensive tackle or wide receiver. I think that's the most realistic. You have Amagaje, who I am a big fan of, but don't like him more than Kingsley Suamatia. This is a guy that gives you a little bit of experience at left guard, but is mainly going to be a left tackle for you. A little bit more of a project player. I mean, he's significantly gotten better each and every single year, as you can see. And I think one of the things that teams are going to most look for is, are you able to be taught? Are you able to take the information we're giving you, the criticism we're giving you, and be a better player? And Amagaje is a guy that has done that each and every single year, this being the best year that he's put up so far. But what I really like with Kingsley Suamatia is that he has the ability to play both right tackle and left tackle. He's ambidextrous, which basically means, for those who don't know what that means, is that he is both left-handed and right-handed. With that being said, he said this himself, that because he's ambidextrous, he feels very comfortable playing both as a right tackle and a left tackle. And I think that's very valuable. I think the hit rate for somebody who can play both of those positions makes you significantly higher. If you don't work out at left tackle, try to pin you over at right tackle. So that's why I'm a big Kingsley Suamatia fan. But you can't deny the fact that somebody like Amagaje has just significantly gotten better each and every single year. So let's look at who's also there at wide receiver. I do think that offensive tackle makes more sense in the second over wide receiver, just because there is a dip, I feel like, over that first batch of offensive tackles. There's this fall off. Jalen Polk, Xavier Legette. Where's our next pick? So our next pick isn't until 68. I don't think that all of these guys are going to be here, but between Jalen McMillan, I mean, there's so many good wide receivers still on the board. There's got to be a few of those guys still there at 68. I believe in protecting your quarterback, whether that's Jacoby Brissett this season or whether that's Drake May this season or Drake May next season. It all starts in the trenches. It starts up front. Whether you want to have a successful running game, whether you want to have a successful passing game, as Patriots fans, we saw just last year how when you don't have a good offensive line, it is going to disrupt everything that you want to do offensively. So I think going offensive tackle is important. I think that they have a good enough wide receiver core to get them past a year. I don't think they have a good enough offensive line to get them past a year. So I'm going to go with Kingsley Suamatia. Okay, I know they really like him. They had a top 30 visit with him, and that ability to play on both sides is so valuable. And like I said, I think the hit rate is going to be significantly higher with somebody like that. Ricky Pearsall goes. Javon Bullard goes. Wow, Patrick Paul, the end of the second round. Like I said, if there is a run on tackles, both in the first and second round, somebody like Patrick Paul really could creep up to being a second round pick. Right now, he's projected third, but that could make a lot of sense. Amagaje goes just before our third round pick here to the in-division rival Buffalo Bills. Blake Corum, a second round pick. Wow. Okay. I don't know if I like Blake Corum that early, just because I think there's a lot of tread on the tires, but how about that? Ricky Pearsall, it looks like the Miami Dolphins kind of get that pure slot receiver that is just kind of going to catch everything that goes his way. Jalen Polk goes off the board too. He goes to the Browns. That would have been a guy that I really, really liked. Bo Nick to the Rams. That makes a lot of sense. Roman Wilson to the Bengals. Xavier Legette to the Giants. Keon Coleman off the board. Wow. Talk about a slam dunk if you are the Raiders. You wait till the second round, and at 44, Michael Penix falls in your lap. I mean, I don't know how realistic that is, but that is a best case scenario for them. So definitely a few wide receivers off the board that I would have liked here. But the Patriots still have several guys that they could go with. I mean, Jermaine Burton falling. And from what's expected, Jermaine Burton's camp is significantly lower because of his character concerns. He's someone who I could see kind of falling to the 4th or 5th round because of those character concerns. Big fan of Javon Baker. You know, if you saw my recent video, you would know that I'm a big fan of Javon Baker. He's like this outside perimeter X receiver who also runs very good routes, right? He's not your N'Keal Harry, who you're just kind of a slow guy. You're not going to get open. You're just going to, you know, catch the ball because it's contested. Javon Baker is going to be able to get open and have a nice release package, have a very good route tree. Talked about him in a recent video, like I mentioned. But I wonder if they also look at somebody like Devontae Walker, who had a really bad camp. I think he's going to fall, which is why you think he was like a projected like 2nd round pick at one point. I could see him being, you know, a 3rd or 4th. 6'2", 200 pounds, like I said, another more of a contested catch guy. 58.8 overall contested catch rate, 6.8 overall drop rate. Kind of pairing Devontae Walker and Drake May back up, I think, is something the Patriots would have interest in. I'm also a fan of Malachi Corley. He's like a really good yards after the catch, route runner, pure technician. Jalen McMillan is another guy that I like too, especially here in the 3rd round. That is your Jacoby, I'm about to say Jacoby Brissett. That's your Jacoby Myers right there. That's like your going to catch everything that goes his way, has inside-outside versatility, but is going to be a little bit more of a slot guy. I think that Jalen McMillan is also a little bit faster than somebody like Jacoby Myers was too. So if Gerard Mayo's looking at this and Elliott Wolf looking at this saying, we never agreed with letting Jacoby Myers walk, this is the type of guy you get in the building to replace him, but I just don't think he necessarily fits with what the Patriots need. New England kind of has that slot possession guy already. They need somebody on the outside. Jermaine Burton is that guy who can play the outside, but he's small. He's not really, he's a good contested catch guy for his size, but he's more like a speedster. I'm going to go with Javon Baker here, and I've mocked him to the Patriots before. I don't regret it at all. I think you know what you're getting with a Javon Baker. I think that he can be a very good number 2. Is he ever going to be a number 1? I don't know. I'm not sure about that one. There's always the potential to, but I feel more confident about him being like a wide receiver too. What concerns me more with him is that drop rate, 10.3%. I think that's what's going to drop his overall stock, is because he's not this super fast guy who has issues with drops. So I think that's gonna drop his stock there a little bit. But you know what? You can coach up drops. Just have him go after camp and catch 1,000 passes, and he'll be fine. So we're gonna go Javon Baker there in the 3rd round. And so far, this is looking pretty good. This is looking pretty good for the Patriots, right? You get Jaden, or we get Jaden Daniels. I thought we got Drake May for a second. You get Jaden Daniels at 3. You get your franchise quarterback. You get Kingsley Suamataia there at your 2nd pick, also by trading down. And then you get your big outside receiver in Javon Baker. Jalen McMillan goes a pick before to the Dallas Cowboys. If he was here, I honestly probably would have grabbed him, double up at wide receiver, and get 2 different guys that you can get on the field at the same time. This is where I could see them looking at defense. I don't think that they're going to go tight end early. I know that some people have projected them like a 3rd, maybe 4th rounder, and I've done that too. I really don't think they're going to do that. I could see them going edge, you know, and they might not need edge this year, but in the 3rd round, you're kind of also looking towards the future, and you're not just building for this year, but you're also building for next year and looking at your needs next year. Matthew Judon coming back from a season-ending injury. He's in contract year. They just need to adjust his contract to even get him to play in his final year. Then you have Josh Uche, who also signed on a 1-year deal. After that, those are your pure pass rushers. You signed Anthony Jennings to a 3-year deal, but he's just stop the run and be a rotational guy. I mean, he's not a guy who's going to consistently get to the quarterback. And then Keon White is like a Dietrich Wise, who he's probably going to play more inside than he is actually on the edge. And even then, he's not going to get a whole lot of sack total. So I look at somebody like Javon Solomon here. Big fan, obviously coming out of Troy. Doesn't necessarily have as high of a competition level as you would like as he transitions to the NFL, but this guy is an absolute dog. I mean, he's been pretty consistent over the last 3 years, but this past year played at an elite level, which really helped his stock rise, putting up an overall grade of 90.8, put up a pass rush grade of 90.9, run defensive grade of 81.9, a pass rush win rate of 17.1, and a run stop of 7.5. This would make a lot of sense for the Patriots to go if they are looking past Josh Uche, past Matthew Judon. If they want a guy in the building that he can hold the edge in stopping the run, but his game is purely going to be getting to the quarterback. I mean, 17 sacks this past year, 10 quarterback hits, 21 hurries. The stats speak for themselves. I think I think that this makes a lot of sense, and I would love this pick for the Pats. And again, I mean, if you think about it, the first 3 picks that the Patriots had all went to offense. All offensive needs that they have at offensive tackle, wide receiver, and quarterback, they hit on all of those. Now you can kind of start building around your other needs. So here in the 4th round, see who's on the board. And Cam Kitchens is here. If the Patriots want to kind of solidify that defense, this is where you do it. Is this where we want to go? Let's see what we also have, because I could see them doubling up at tackle, but this might be a little too soon. I could also see them going corner because they do need help at cornerback. All right, so who's there at corner? Chris Abrams-Drain is there. I know that they have kind of been linked back to him. Cam Hart. I've been a huge Cam Hart fan. I've mocked him several times. I think you hope maybe he's there at 137, but that might be a push. That probably is a push. He should go before. Kalen King had a pretty good Senior Bowl too. Patriots never draft from Penn State, though. Could that change? I think they go with what the need is, right? So if you look at what one of the biggest needs for the Patriots, even right now, is on defense, it's at free safety. That was one of the biggest issues with their defense this past season, outside of injuries, was they placed everybody and their mother at free safety, whether it was Jalen Mills, Kyle Duggar, Jabril Peppers. They tried everybody at free safety to try and replace Devin McCourty, and it never worked out. That's a big reason why we saw so many inconsistencies with the Patriots defense. Like, there were times where they would be shut down, and then on a 3rd and 20, they're giving up this massive 40-yard play. There were also a lot of times we saw running backs break off for these 40, 50-yard runs against New England, because that second line of defense that is supposed to be your free safety, the guy who's playing deep, just wasn't able to ultimately make a play. And Cameron Kitchens is a guy who can come in and serve in that role. Also coming out of the University of Miami here, makes a lot of sense. Makes a lot of sense. The Hurricanes have relations back to the front office here in New England, so I wonder if that's a guy they look into. Cam Kitchens is a guy that popped off significantly in 2022. This is a guy that if he performed in 2023 the way he did in 2022, I mean, we're talking about him going a lot sooner. So the Patriots could be getting themselves a steal here. 6 foot, 205 pounds. Trying to find his numbers here. Missed tackle rate is 13.7%. That is probably the biggest concern you're going to have with Kitchens, right? Because when you have a free safety, you have a guy playing deep, he's your last line of defense. You need to make sure that whoever's playing deep is going to be able to come up and make a short tackle. Little bit of concerns there with Kitchens, but I think that's something that they can ultimately iron out a little bit. Plays pretty good against the run too, which the Patriots view very, very highly, especially at that guy playing deep. So I'm going to go here with Kitchens. And so far, I think that this is really an A+ for the Patriots. You know, you get your future quarterback at 3, you get to the 2nd round at 34, you trade down, you pick up an extra top 100 pick, you get your offensive tackle, you then get Javon Baker, that big outside X receiver. You then get your edge defender who could help you this year, but also is going to help you in the future with Javon Solomon. But then you also get the guy who's finally going to be your replacement for Devin McCourty, which is still a massive, massive hole for this team on who is going to play deep. So I like it. I like it. Audric Estime is here. The Patriots could go running back in the 5th. I think this is the earliest that New England is going to go running back, would be in the 5th round. But I don't know. I feel like that's still a little bit sweet. I feel if New England goes running back, 3rd, 4th, maybe even 5th round, then that probably dictates that Ramondre Stevenson is out in New England. Big fan of Audric Estime. I did a mock draft recently with the guys over at Patriots Drive, the Patriots Drive podcast, my boy Jace. And he sold me on Audric Estime. This is a guy that is just going to run through a mother effer. If you're looking for like that LeGarrette Blount, Damian Harris type of role, that's what Estime is going to be. He's not necessarily a fast guy, but he's going to bulldozer through guys. He's going to carry guys on his back, and he's going to get that tough yardage. Again, if you're moving on from Ramondre Stevenson, somebody like Estime would make a whole lot of sense. So I think he's definitely in play, but I also want to double up at wide receiver potentially. So I actually, I do like Cornelius Johnson. I do like Cornelius Johnson, but he's also that like outside contested catch guy. And the Patriots already got that. I also like Luke McCaffrey, but do they stats for above means? I'm not going to go wide receiver here because I feel like all of these guys could be like later round prospects. Like if I can get a Cornelius Johnson in the 6th or a Luke McCaffrey in the 6th, maybe then that's where I go. Christian Jones, Javon Foster, but Javon Foster is purely a left tackle. So, like, if you bring in Javon Foster, then you're probably kicking Kingsley Suamatia over to the right side. So, honestly, this might be even another position where you could wait a little bit. What do we have at corner? Wow. Cam Hart is still there. I don't think that's realistic. I mean, Cam Hart had an excellent Senior Bowl, excellent combine. I don't think he's lasting to the 5th. This might be more respecting the board at this point, but like if the Patriots can get Cam Hart on top of everything else they've done, this is like an A+ draft. Again, I don't think he's going to be here in the 5th. So this is going to be me respecting the board. But man, can you imagine? Can you imagine Javon Solomon? Can you imagine Kitchens on top of Cam Hart? That is like solidifying your defense for the next several years. This is easily a top 3 defense in the entire National Football League. But I think I'm going to go Audric Estime here. Pull him up here. 5'11", 227 pounds. So he kind of fits that mold of like that smaller but just large running back that the Patriots have. Crazy season this past year. Another guy who's developed very, very well on a year-to-year basis, put up an overall grade of 94.2 this past year, and was averaging 6.4 yards on the ground per carry. Overall rushing grade of 94, and was averaging 4.27 yards per carry. Or not yards per carry, but yards after contact. Absolutely absurd. Again, a guy that just does not go down. And if New England really wants to be this well-rounded team and they want to run the ball, especially early on, take the ball out of Jaden Daniels' hands in this case. Take the ball out of Jacoby Brissett's hands a little bit here. Estime is a guy that can definitely do that. So I think now is where you're going to look more towards doubling up here at offensive tackle. Yeah, Cam Hart going like mid-5th round. I don't see that. Luke McCaffrey goes off the board. That was a guy that we were potentially targeting. All right. Javon Foster goes early off there to the Chiefs. That doesn't make a lot of sense because they went Jordan Morgan early on. Jordan Morgan's a left tackle unless they're kicking him into guard, but they also have Joe Tooney. So that pick makes no sense. Josh Proctor. Okay, let's see who's here. So Kalen King. Kalen King is here. What are his measurements, though? 5'11", 191. This would probably be more of like your Jonathan Jones replacement. I think there's better guys that you could go. I'm not against going there, but oops. Let's see what we have at wide receiver. Wow, I don't like any of these guys. Wow. Bub Means is there. I know that people are very, very high in Pat's Nation on Bub Means. I could see the relation and I could see why the Patriots would go after Bub Means. Honestly, I think Bub Means is a 7th round pick to a UDFA. Like, I could see the Patriots landing Bub Means, but I could see them landing Bub Means after the conclusion of the draft and they're picking him up as a UDFA. That would not surprise me whatsoever. Let's look at tackle maybe. How many picks do we have left? We have 3 picks. Ethan Driscoll has that versatility to play both left and right tackle, but he's mainly a left. Frank Crum is a guy that I do really like. He also has some experience. Played more right tackle, but played entirely over on the left side this past season. I feel like if you get Crum, that's a type of situation to where, I mean, yeah, it's a 6th round. You're not banking on him being anything, but if he does pan out, you probably put Kingsley Suamatia in at left tackle. Ideally, you put Frank Crum in over at right tackle, and then you kick Michael Onwenu back over to right guard, and you kind of put players back in the position that they succeed the most. I'm also a fan of Delmar Glaze. Now, he's another guy who a lot of experience at left tackle, mainly left tackle, but also a lot of experience over on the right side with very, very minimal snaps over at guard. I think I'm going to go cornerback here. And I'm going to go with Kalen King. Okay. I know he's not this big cornerback that's going to be the Patriots official cornerback too. That guy would have been Cam Hart. Cam Hart, who is like 6'2", is that perimeter cornerback outside of Christian Gonzalez that I think the Patriots really need. But Jonathan Jones, a $12 million cap hit, can't stay healthy. I believe he's also in contract year 2. This is the way that you can kind of transition. And I know that they do have Marcus Jones. He's very unproven in the secondary. He's shown flashes. He's also 5'8". He is a mismatch nightmare. Patriots could view him as more of a rotational piece on defense and a starting special teams guy. You get Kalen King here in the 6th round, who again had a very good offseason in the Senior Bowl at the Combine. So I like taking a chance on him here in the 6th. And I think at our next 6th round pick is where you try to look at one of those tackles we just mentioned. Let's see who went off the board before. Because we should still have, so we do still have the opportunity at both of the tackles that we just talked about. There we go. So Ethan Driscoll is a little bit higher on PFF's board. I don't know. I like Crum a little bit better. But you should be able to get Glazed too at your 7th pick. So let me just make sure there's no one else that I think would be a better option here. Honestly, I think at that point, don't test it. Just go and get your guy. And let's go with Frank Crum. Actually, I want to see. So Ethan Driscoll is a guy who's going to be a little bit better as a pass blocker and not a run blocker, but Crum is a guy who's going to be a little better as a run blocker and not so much as a pass blocker. Interesting. So, see, I like the idea of getting Michael Onwenu back to where he plays the best, and that's over at right guard. And Crum has most of his experience over on the right side. And knowing that Kingsley Suamatia is going to be a left tackle more than likely, I like going Crum there. We can speed the board up. And Joe Milton falls to the 7th round. How about that? So we already got our running back, so I'm not going to go Frank Gore. Could they double up at edge and go Salomon Burr? That's another guy that I like. Had a really good year this past year. And that's just value. But I know that a lot of people are want to go more offense here. There's just not a lot of guys with how this board fell that I like offensively. You could go Trey Knox, not the brother of Dawson Knox, just so that's clear. It just sounds like they're content with how their board, or not how they're bored, but how their roster's looking at tight end this year based off of what Elliott Wolf said. And I think I feel like at this point in the draft, you're just going best player available. And if you really do end up losing both Matthew Judon and Josh Uche at the end of this season, you really don't have any pass rushers. Like I said, Keon White, Dietrich Wise, both guys who mainly play on the inside. They play best when you kind of find their mismatches. They're not pure just edge rushers. And I think you want to take multiple shots there. So where did he go? So right here, I'm going to go Salomon Bird. Again, in the 7th round, this is a guy you're just taking a shot on, essentially not trying to compete for as a UDFA and pay more money to. He put up 7 sacks this past season with the Trojans, an overall pass rush grade of 81.7, run defensive grade of 74.8, pass rush win rate of a 13.9, and a run stopping grade of 7.9. Patriots double dipping at edge, and this really gives them the best way to solidify that edge. I know a lot of people are going to say you went with a lot of defense here. I don't think it's unrealistic. I think the Patriots are going to think, at least the early on stages while they're building up the offense, that the best way they're going to win and the best way they're going to be competitive is to play good defense. I know it's crazy, but that's what Belichick tried to do last year. And if the Patriots had just average quarterback play, how many more games would they ultimately have won? And then are we talking about them maybe being a wild card in the playoffs? So we're going to finish it off there with Salomon Bird. I hate grading the draft because they never like your draft. So they think that I should go Marvin Harrison Jr. over Jaden Daniels. That's why I don't trust the grades by PFF. But I know you guys like to look at them, so let's just do it for fun. They gave me an overall B, which is crazy. I don't know how you don't like Kingsley Suamataia in the 2nd round at 41 when there was a run on tackles. But okay, they liked the Javon Baker pick. They loved the Solomon pick. They didn't like Cam Kitchens where we got him in the 4th round, but I think that's pretty realistic to where he's overall going to go. Like, we got him in that sweet spot of where he was supposed to be. They loved the Estimate pick. They felt about the Kalen King pick. They did not like the Frank Crum pick. Realistically, you probably could have gotten Frank Crum later. Like, you probably could have gotten him in the 7th round. But again, at the end of the day, 7th, 6th round, you're just taking the flyers on the guys that you believe in. And then Salomon Bird there at the end to finish off on edge. I think that this is a very, very, very well-rounded draft. At the end of the day, the Patriots are getting the top needs. I mean, the top 3 picks are all going to offense. You get your quarterback of the future. You get your left tackle. You get your new wide receiver. And then you solidify the defense at edge and safety, also building not just for now, but for the future. You get your kind of insurance policy at running back with Estime, also your replacement for Ramondre Stevenson next year. You double up at tackle with Frank Crum there in the 6th, and then you also double up with Salomon Bird on the edge at the 7th. So get back on screen here. Make sure you guys let me know in the comment section below what you think about this. Like I said, we've done so many other mock drafts between PFF, or not PFF, but Bleacher Report, the AFC East Roundtable, some collabs that I've done. So make sure you guys check out all of those. Today, this is just how the board fell. And I thought that it was a pretty even way. Let me know what you guys think, though. Make sure you guys subscribe to the channel for all of your New England Patriots news. And as always, I appreciate you guys so much for watching. And never forget,